questions before, and so we have those questions here, and you two can't wait to answer them. I can just see that. Okay, Olga, let's just start with the first question. What is VMG Plus, and why did we create it?
That's a great question. It's probably the best one, and I'm happy that we have. How much time do we have? 30 minutes. So it's a good thing that we start with me. So to answer this question, why did we create VMG? Is all humans need nutrients. It's plain and simple. So the human body needs a comprehensive array of vitamins, nutrients, phytonutrients, antioxidants for our bodies to function optimally. Those nutrients are essential for metabolic processes in our body, for maintaining cellular integrity, as well as overall systemic balance of the body. So, in other words, all those nutrients are foundational for our wellness, right? And unfortunately, living in modern world often means that we have nutrient deficiencies. So, and there may be very many reasons why we do not get enough nutrients through our diet. It can be from modern agricultural practices that simply render less nutrient-dense foods, to the flood of ultra-processed foods that we're seeing everywhere. Just us traveling from the US, it's like, even if you're trying to eat well, it's very hard when you're traveling, right? You cannot find any good food anywhere, so the airports, it was a disaster. So, but yeah, overall, as I mentioned, even those who are trying to eat healthy and well often fall short, because in fact, in the last few decades, the nutritional value of the produce of vegetables and fruits has dropped by around 80%. So what it means we might not be getting enough nutrients that are required for our bodies to function properly. So, and VMG was the response, our response to that. So I hope you all had the chance to watch a wonderful presentation from Alex yesterday at the general session. It was incredible, so much science. So, and I'm sure you guys took pictures, I'm sure you guys took notes, but basically, to answer the question what VMG is, and if you don't remember at this point, or you don't have your notes with you, I can quickly summarize that. So VMG Plus is a whole food nutrient complex. It's a comprehensive daily nutritional powder specifically designed to optimize foundational wellness. It's packed with vitamins, minerals, ingredients, and it goes beyond that. We also added liposomes, we added premethylated B vitamins, we added essential oils, and again, as Alex mentioned, not to stay on brand, those essential oils work, and there is a specific reason why we chose those oils at that specific amount. Also, we have digestive enzymes and probiotics. All of this was included to improve absorption. Right? And why we need that, we need to make sure what you're giving your body can actually use what you're giving it. So, also what I think what's so special about VMG Plus is that the science and the care behind it. Because Alex developed personally an incredible doTERRA research and development team. They spent months choosing the right ingredients. You guys remember, right? 75 plus ingredients in VMG Plus, right? That's impressive. So Alex and his team spent months specifically choosing the right raw materials, precisely calibrating the dosages to make sure that the end product that you guys getting is not just new, right? It's not just something different or innovative, right? It's also safe, it's also efficacious, and it's also grounded in the latest nutritional research. And what is most important, it's compliant in the European market, that we can actually happily get it to you guys. So yeah, Alex, thank you so much for that.
So one of the things I appreciate about the Terra Talk format is a little less formal, and I want to just interact a little bit with you. How many of you know Robert? Raise your hand if you know Robert. Pretty good amount. How many of you know Olga? Not nearly as many, right?
Not that exciting, but I have some fans. I have a few. I have a few.
So how many of you know what the word, you're familiar with the word advocate? Like a wellness advocate, right? I just want to say how grateful I am for Olga. She is Europe's advocate in the home office. Olga is just, I need to say, she is relentless and committed to making sure that Europe gets the best product possible. So, I can thank Olga for this.
Now, knowing what Olga's role is and you being aware, I feel guilty of asking more questions exactly to Olga. So the next one there, and I think that's an important question. What is the target group? Who is VMG Plus for?
That's a great question. I would say absolutely everyone. It can be a really good option for those who are completely new to food supplementation, and also it can be a really good upgrade for those who have been on LOB for a while now. So this was one of the main aspects, and my favorite aspect in VMG Plus is actually its drinkable format. What it means, it was specifically designed to address a very growing consumer concern, pill fatigue. Have you guys heard this term before? Pill fatigue. Have you ever heard this? Yeah, you have. So we've heard it as well. So basically, pill fatigue is, this is the concept when people have difficulty swallowing the pills. But it's not just that, though it is a common concern right now, right? But it's not just this. Pill fatigue also refers to physical and emotional burnout from just having to take so many pills daily. So VMG Plus, actually we looked at some recent surveys among the people who take food supplements daily, and they reported that pill fatigue is actually one of the main reasons why they do not stay consistent, why they do not take their supplements every day. So VMG Plus, it removes this barrier, right? You don't have to worry about it. Like, we have a ton of wellness advocates here, right? So how many of you have customers who stopped ordering just because they got overwhelmed at some point, right? Because they have to remember to take so many pills, and in the end, they ended up having too many pills left over at home and they would never order again. So VMG Plus solves this issue. Again, it can be a really good option for those who stop for those reasons, but it's also a great option for those, it opens the doors for those who have been reluctant even to start just because they were never comfortable with the pills. So yeah, I would say everyone.
Sometimes I think when we have a convention and we talk about a new product that maybe it's a surprise, like you didn't know about it. But did any of you know about VMG before convention? A few of you. And have any of you been using VMG? Okay, and many of you. So that's fantastic. And then we could ask, have any of you appreciated the new format, the new form of the product, right? And one of the advantages, as Olga was describing, the uniqueness of VMG, we're bringing a whole new experience to the product, to consuming these important micronutrients. One of the unique aspects of essential oils is just this fantastic experience that you have. You can open the bottle, you can smell it, you can taste it, you can feel it on your skin. And with VMG, we're introducing a similar type of experience for people to have a more enjoyable experience in consuming these micronutrients. So that's a big advantage because, as Olga mentioned, not everybody is necessarily in love with consuming 12 pills.
Thanks, Alex. That actually leads into my next question, also for you, Olga. Some of the people in the audience, I saw some hands raised, so they've already had VMG in their diet at least for a month, maybe. But many of them, maybe most of them, will take it home in their convention kit this weekend and will start taking it. So what can they expect when they start to get on VMG Plus?
Okay, thank you so much for this question. So I would say it depends where you are at right now in your wellness journey. Are you eating well? Have you been supplementing with, have you been on LOB? Are you eating well? What are your stress levels? Do you get enough rest? But all those factors can affect how you're gonna feel when you're gonna start taking VMG. But overall, I can say, once your body gonna start receiving all those good nutrients, you should expect to see a really good difference. So, for example, we launched this product in the US, I would say 8 months ago, right? So we have some data and some feedback from US customers. So they reported that we increased energy levels, more stable mood, more stable balance. I would say we also hear a lot about the improved focus and brain function, and thanks to really gut-friendly formulation, because we did include probiotics and digestive enzymes, people report improvements in digestion as well. Because honestly, like we talked about, like so many good things that's in VMG, but we also need to remember VMG is a really good source of fiber, of dietary fiber, which is very important, and it's essential for healthy digestion as well. So again, it depends on people, but those are increased energy, brain function, focus, and improved digestion. Those are the main things that we hear from the people.
And just to add to that a little bit, you'll remember when Dr. Hill was talking about the essential oil chemistry, right, with the aroma touch, and this is really just biochemistry. You have chemical constituents of essential oils that interact with receptors in the cell. When we think of VMG and how the product works, like Olga's describing why people would be interested in the product. What are the benefits that you should expect to see? And of course, in designing the product and formulating the product, we are focused on how we will deliver those benefits. So things like the micronutrients, you're familiar with the importance of zinc in supporting the development and the function of immune cells. You know about B vitamins that are involved in converting food into cellular energy. And so you can start to see at the biochemical level, from a formula perspective, how a product like VMG is providing these benefits and what you should expect to see when you use the product.
I'm glad I took my VMG this morning, knowing what it does. I can feel it. I assume there are some wellness advocates in the room, by the show of hand. Where are the wellness advocates here in the room? We are pretty much everyone. So if you go out and talk about that product, that's probably a question that you would like to know, and I would like to direct that to Alex. There's other products on the market. So what makes VMG Plus unique in the market space, and what is the things that we actually should be telling about when we share that with other people?
Yeah, VMG is truly one of a kind product. I've been involved in research and development for a couple of decades, and different products, different ingredients, what we're trying to provide. But VMG truly is unique, not just within doTERRA, but in the entire natural products space. And the reason I say that is, when you look, and yesterday in sharing more information about the product, we focus on the five blends that are in VMG. And I think a couple of those aspects, a couple of the blends in particular, deserve some focus. The nutrition blend and the bioavailability boosting blend. The nutrition blend represents these natural nutrient sources. So in VMG, we get these from 4 different botanicals. I think we should have a slide for this. I'm supposed to be in charge of advancing slides, and I'm not paying attention. So we'll catch up. My apologies for the time. Here's some of the cover description of VMG. But these are the natural nutrient sources. So when we talk about vitamins and minerals, you're familiar with these. These are common nutrients that people hear about. But what's less commonly known is where they come from. Plants are able to synthesize and concentrate these different micronutrient forms. And when they do this really effectively, really efficiently, these botanical, these different plants, they're considered superfoods, right? They're superfoods because the nutritional content is extraordinarily dense. So these plants that we've highlighted here, the guava, amla, chickpea, moringa, lemon, and algae, these are selected because they are superfoods, and they have a very high concentration of these micronutrients, and they serve as a very good source of these natural nutrient forms. We'll talk a little bit about how those are then converted in the sense of we're able to concentrate them and include them in a product like VMG. So that is I would say probably the biggest differentiator in the marketplace is the fact that we're using these botanically derived sources of nutrients. The other key differentiator is the way we're delivering the nutrients. So we've talked before about, up to 80% of a product may be simply eliminated that people are consuming that actually isn't absorbed. So you don't get a very good efficiency or bioavailability. And the bioavailability boosting blend that we've included in VMG is designed to overcome this challenge, that it makes these nutrients more accessible to your body, to your cells. We do this through essential oil chemistry and also through liposomal delivery. Two other aspects that improve the absorption and retention are also inclusion of probiotics and the fact that the forms are natural nutrient forms. All of these things contribute to the increased bioavailability and bioretention. So I would focus on those two main aspects of VMG, the nutrition blend and natural nutrient sources, and the way that they're delivered.
You already focused on natural nutrients and kind of why they need. Maybe for Olga, how would you derive where they come from? Can you tell us a little about the production of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like human and human microbiome, plants also have this incredible ability to synthesize micronutrients within their cellular structure. Vitamins, minerals, micronutrients, and antioxidants. So basically, we want to maintain that integrity. That's why we use a water-based extraction. Just at a high level, we use pure water without any harsh chemical or solvents to gently pull what the plant has produced, to gently pull it from the plant. And in this case, we do not change the structure of it, right? So we keep the efficacy of it. So another way to think about it is like steeping the tea, like you're making the tea, right? You put the ingredient in the water, water pulls all the good stuff from it, right? And this is how you get the ingredient. So, and as Alex mentioned, this is very different, and it's very important to know it is very different from how synthetic ingredients are done. Because synthetic ingredients are usually made, like vitamins, for example, they manufacture it through industrial chemical reactions or isolated in labs. Even though those synthetic vitamins can mimic the structure of the natural vitamin, they most always lack the full spectrum of all cofactors and supporting ingredients that we often can find in food-based ingredients. So that's different.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is quite long. I have to read that. It's from one of your experts here. And the question goes, another unique aspect of VMG Plus that you shared in the liposomal delivery and is the liposomal delivery of essential oils. Can you describe how liposomes and essential oils enhance the bioavailability, that's a long one, of nutrients? And can you also share the difference between bioavailability and bioretention, and why we should care about that? How does it impact our health? And I think, Alex, you would be the right person to answer that one.
I think this one is for Olga. We've talked a lot about this because these are important characteristics of the VMG product, and so the bioavailability and the bioretention. How do essential oils contribute to the enhanced bioavailability? Because as we've heard before, essential oils impart aroma, they impart flavor, but they impart chemistry, they impart function. And the way that they do this in VMG, they're increasing gut permeability. So we know that the digestive tract is where we have the exchange of nutrients from the food that we consume into our, through our digestive system into our bloodstream. This is how we absorb things from the external environment. And the essential oils improve our gut permeability. They also increase the production of digestive enzymes that help with the breakdown of macronutrients into micronutrients. So this is one key way in which essential oils increase the bioavailability of these nutrients. The other way we're increasing the absorption is through the liposomal delivery. So lipo is implied for fat, and we have in this technology, we're mimicking the same cellular structure that is part of all of our cells. When you look at a cell under a microscope, you can see a lipid bilayer. So there's that lipid, it's a fat. It's 2 layers of lipids. And in this manner, with a liposome, we're able to encapsulate the micronutrients. And when we do this, it makes that nutrient more similar to the environment of our gut. And in this way, it increases the absorption of that micronutrient. At the same time, it increases the retention. So this is the bioavailability and the bioretention. What do you mean by bioretention? So we have a nice slide. I think it's a nice slide. It's the next one that's really highlighting the bioretention. We'll go back for you. One more time. All right. Let's talk about this. So this data, since we're doing a VMG Deep Dive, so we're looking at vitamin E, which is a fat-soluble vitamin. We have vitamin C, which is a water-soluble vitamin, and iron, which is a mineral. So 3 different types of nutrients, and in every instance, we see a dramatic increase in the bioavailability. This is compared to, when we combine the essential oils and liposomes compared to the same nutrient that is not delivered with essential oils and liposomes, we see a dramatic increase. Over 500% for vitamin E, 600% for iron, and 400% for vitamin C. In addition to the increased uptake, which is kind of the initial spike in the area under the curve, of how much of the nutrient can you find in the blood, you also see this nutrient level raised over time. So you have the initial blood draws, and then multiple hours later, when that line stays high, the nutrient concentration in the blood stays high, this reflects bioretention. And this is important because if the nutrients aren't available to the different cells of the body, they're not being retained, then they're not able to be used. They'll be eliminated and excreted from the body. So they're great when they're in your body, that your body can access them and use them, but once they're eliminated, which is a normal process, then you no longer have access to it. So we focus on bioavailability and bioretention because it highlights how efficient and effective a product like VMG is at supplying micronutrients to the body. And in this way, we can do more with less, right? So sometimes we look at a label, we might look at a product label and say, well, this one has 10 milligrams and this one has 2 milligrams, What isn't clear on a product label are these very important parameters. How available to your cells is the nutrient, and how long does it stay in the body? Bioavailability and bioretention. These are absolutely critical to understanding the value of a product. That make sense? Yes.
The next question is kind of more as in what's the difference between LLV and VMG plus, and I'm probably not talking about the obvious, that the way we intake it, but what actually is the difference as in product. And I don't know who of you wants to answer that. Maybe both of you have a part of that answer.
I can start. Let me start. So, VMG Plus builds on the trusted foundation of LLV by including very similar and same nutrients, right? We all know LLV, right? We know the Z omega is a great source of carotenoids. We also know about flavonoids and phenolics in alpha CRS. So VMG Plus takes it to a completely different level, right? As Alex mentioned several times, right? one of the 5 plants that are included in the product. It's a source of those 330 phytonutrients. And there are so many of them, and it can be very overwhelming, right? So these 330 nutrients can be further grouped into some other 11 classes, right? Like what it means to us, right? Like you can see on the screen, flavonoids, lipids, sugars, phenolics, amino acids, right? I actually have a question. So, Alex, could you please, I also see that VMG Plus is a great source of peptides. And peptides have been a really very hot topic recently. Can you please let us know why we care about peptides and why they're important?
I was hoping you would ask this question, Olga.
Yes.
Who's heard of peptides before? A few of you, right? A peptide is a string of amino acids. So it's a protein, right? And proteins are produced cell expression of DNA, and genes produces proteins or peptides. Peptides, like hormones, are signaling molecules. So when we have peptides circulating in the body, they're signaling molecules to different tissue types and different cell types how to respond to nutrients, whether to grow, for example. So you think of a growth hormone, or you think of collagen tripeptides, which tell the body to start synthesizing new collagen. Or you think of peptides like insulin or glucagon, these metabolic peptides that tell your body whether to store energy or to burn energy. These are some of the natural, botanically derived amino acid strings or peptides that are influencing the physiology of our body. So it's getting more and more attention as far as how it can impact the body for good. And as Olga, as you mentioned, these other important antioxidant compounds, flavonoids, phenolics, even carotenoids. One of the more common questions we get asked about LLV and its comparison to VMG is what about the carotenoids? We have carotenoids in Z omega. We actually have carotenoids in VMG as well. And one of the advantages of moving the carotenoids and some of the other fat-soluble vitamins from our omega soft gel into our VMG product is that you can now have more variable dosing of the omegas without worrying about excess accumulation of things like the carotenoids and the fat-soluble vitamins. So we're allowing for dynamic dosing of the omegas by moving those nutrients into a product like VMG. And I think that's a great improvement for our foundational wellness product offering.
So we see how unique VMG Plus really is. Have you conducted any studies to look into what it does?
Well, yes, we have. Should we talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
So yesterday, in talking a little bit more about VMG and what makes it unique and some of the initial things you'll recognize, we plugged this session and a deep dive to talk about how effective it is. And we're highlighting two themes here, two different aspects of study of VMG that we've conducted. But I'll be honest that we're continuing to study VMG for additional outcomes and parameters, which maybe some of that will be shared in the future. But these two in particular, we're going to talk just about C-reactive protein. You've heard about CRP? C-reactive protein is a marker of systemic inflammation. Dr. Hill talked about this in respect to phosphoric acids and frankincense essential oil. We want to keep this low-grade chronic inflammation or systemic inflammation low. And we're able to measure this by the amount of CRP in the body. When you have excessive inflammation going on, chronic inflammation, it starts to damage tissues. So this will accelerate the aging process. It also accelerates other conditions that will decrease your quality of life. So when people have been using VMG for 6 weeks, they see a 43% reduction in their systemic CRP or systemic inflammation. And this reduces the inflammaging that would otherwise be occurring. The other parameter that we measured is biological age. And we've looked at this through DNA methylation patterns. So in your DNA, over time, as you age, there are little methylation tags, methyl tags, that are attached to your DNA. And this influences which genes can be expressed or not. And so as you age, the methylation patterns will shift. And what we've been able to demonstrate, again, over 6 weeks of use, the product is a reduction in this biological age as measured through DNA methylation patterns. And we've got several other products that we've demonstrated similar types of things. So this is one of the benefits, as Olga mentioned. When people use a product like VMG, what should they expect to see? Inside of our cells, as we're nourishing these cells and providing these important micronutrients, we turn back the biological clock.
Are we getting younger then?
Actually, we can't turn back the actual chronological clock, but we can turn back the biological clock. Even though we don't get younger in years, our cells can perform and function at a younger age.
That's so exciting. Can we prove that if we take more of it? Does it go faster?
Well, we're continuing to do additional research, so we'll see. Maybe you'll act like a 3-year-old.
Sign me up for that. Okay, Olga, in wrapping up, one last question. Where does VMG Plus fit in our daily routine? And we already see the chart, so and please give us a short answer as we're already running out of our time.
Okay, just basically what I wanted to say is that to live a fully vibrant life, we definitely need to focus on the basics. And the basics you're familiar, well, this pyramid chart, which is nutrition and digestion. And this is where VMG Plus basically fits. What's important in VMG, I would say, right, is that to stay consistent, right? You need to choose the routine that you love, right, to make sure that you will stick to it. Just because, again, how we were talking about nutrient deficiencies, right? It's not just like, like one day in a week, right? For us to have optimal health and optimal nutrition and digestion, we need to make sure that we're very consistent, right? So VMG can be like, what I love about VMG, it can be easily paired with many doTERRA products, right? You can create, like my favorite thing to do, I put my MetaPower Advantage, MetaPower Recharge, PB Assist Plus, and VMG in one super powerhouse drink, and this is how I start my morning. So for you guys, we're all different. Just choose the routine that works for you, and make sure you stick to it and be consistent.
Thanks so much.